Now what happens if we go through here? Was this the statement that we needed to press?
Hold it!
Well, Mr. Butts. No, that's not the statement we need to press. That's the statement that we need to press. What's the first statement? Okay.
Hold it!
To hear your side of it, Mr. Butts. Why did Mr. Wright leave the staff lounge to call the police? Why didn't you use the landline phone in the office to call the police instead? Why? Because it wasn't working, dude. It was like dial tone when I tried it. We know what Nick found out about it. I guess Mr. Elflash just kept a busted phone in his office or something.
Objection!
There it is. Larry, are you absolutely sure that the landline phone in the office wasn't working? I'm not sure if I understand your concern, Mr. Wright. Didn't you yourself also testify that the landline phone in the office wasn't functioning? That's true, Your Honor. However, I must admit that when I testified that earlier, I was actually going by what Larry had told me at the time when the murder happened. During the video footage, it's shown that I never actually made sure if the phone was broken myself. But given the hectic situation and the fact that Larry's a trusted friend of mine, I took his word for it. Yet now that it's possible that Larry could be the killer, I want to know for sure. Well, Larry? Huh? Of course I'm sure, Nick. That landline phone didn't work then, and it was probably broken a long time before the murder, too. That Larry smirk. So that is your answer. But I'm afraid that now raises another question. Larry, that landline phone was broken at the time of the murder. How come it's functioning just fine now? Huh? How do you know this, Mr. Wright? Just now, during the recess, I decided to call the Elflash Casino on my cell phone. And to my surprise, Deck of Gumshoe picked up on the other side of the... Oh god, I'm sorry. On the other side of the line. When I inquired further, he informed me that I was calling him from the landline phone in the staff lounge. The very phone you said that didn't work when you tried it after the murder happened, Larry. What are you trying to say with all that, Nick? Maybe I just made an honest mistake thinking the phone was broken when I used it, you know? Wright still seems hesitant to confront his friend on this point. I should lend him a hand. Friendship, I think it should be obvious what Mr. Wright means here, Mr. Watts. If that landline phone is functioning now, there's a possibility you lied about it being broken back then. And your motive for doing so could have been because you needed to split off with Mr. Wright. If you're the killer, then you needed to be alone in the staff lounge after the murder, after all. That's indeed what I fear could be the case, yeah. In the situation that had unfolded, it'd naturally be wise for at least one person to watch the body. But the killer still needed to remove the vending machine from the vault before the police arrived. Otherwise, their trick, and thus their perfect alibi, would have easily been seen through. So when I told you to call the police, you lied about the landline phone not working. Which prompted me to go into the main hall and try the payphone there instead. While you would stay in the staff lounge, giving you time to move the vending machine from the vault. Let me be real. I said a lot last video, but that was a while ago. But the way that route was handled was honestly beautiful, beautifully poetic in a Fall of Phoenix Wright sense. Beautifully poetic. And how that was put together. That aside, I'm really curious to see how this comes together. Is this also a good ending? Does it fail the devil's game somehow? Thanks for assisting there, Kristoph. My resolve almost wavered back there. Does it fail the devil's game, but Kristoph is satisfied because he managed to do a good deed? Back in my head, Larry is still my childhood friend, and the first client I defended in court. To be honest, it still feels surreal to think that he could be the killer now. He's acting like his usual self, too. Part of me wishes I didn't have to do this. I see. I never imagined he'd feel this way about accusing his friends. Well, I didn't want to leave you there to drive. You were looking so distraught, right? You seem to be looking a bit distraught yourself, actually. Are you okay? Ah, it's nothing. I may have just thrown away the last chance I had that would allow me to keep my soul. After all Wright has done for me these last 24 hours, I just could not do that to him. Wright said that if you seek out the truth, everything can work out. Perhaps even my predicament. Wright decided to trust me. I should trust him in return. If following this path would cause me to fail the devil's task, I'll accept that outcome. Yeah! Realize now that some things are more important than revenge. Now, hold on a minute, Nick. You think I tried to manipulate you? Don't you trust me? Maybe the real killer had simply unplugged that landline phone and plugged it back in later. And none of us just noticed. I remember briefly seeing that the landline phone was still plugged in right after the murder, Larry. Video footage on my hidden camera should be able to confirm that as well. But that still won't change the fact you could have done this crime.
Objection!
That's enough, Wright. Just look at what you're doing here. Now you too are letting paranoia distort you, leading you to hastily conclude that Larry is the killer. Kristoph Gavin has corrupted you with his ways. I believe Kristoph may have been the first to see something that we could not due to our biases, Edgeworth. I'm simply starting to see the truth that's right in front of me now as well. So you'll choose to abandon your old friends and sound logic in favor of your new friend. Just like how you choose to stand with Mr. Gavin because he'd be fighting all alone otherwise. So will I choose to stand with Larry because he'd be fighting all alone otherwise. Oh god. Your Honor, the defense's assertion that Mr. Butts could be the killer is simply impossible. Oh? And why is that, Mr. Edgeworth? That's simple logic, really. So simple, in fact, that even our witness can explain it to us. Larry, remember what I told you on the way to the courthouse about why I think you can't be the killer? Why don't you inform the court of that so we can bring Wright back to his senses? Yeah, good idea, Edgy. You said it. Nick, we'll make you see reason, okay? Then you'll see it was a mistake crushing this Chrissy guy. And let's hear it, shall we? Mr. Butts is starting to call me Chrissy now as well. How distressing. This should be interesting. Oh, is this different music? This feels like different music from the normal cross-examination epic beat. Killer had to remove the vending machine from the vault before the police arrived, right? But the vault door was confirmed to be locked. I couldn't have unlocked that door without the vault key, which was inside the vault. And since Nick was in the main hall, I couldn't have went to the side hall to use the secret passage either. Meaning it was impossible for me to enter the vault after the murder happened. In other words, you can't say it was me who put the vending machine into Mr. Elflash's safe. I do suppose Mr. Butts makes a good point there. He couldn't have entered the vault after the murder. Only someone with access to the secret passage could have entered the vault. Then temporarily unlocked the vault door, the vault key that was inside, and brought the vending machine to the safe at the staff lounge before returning to the vault again. Which must have all been done during the time Mr. Butts was eating in the kitchen. You see now, Nick? Even the old guy agrees I couldn't be the killer. So why don't you stop this nonsense and come back to your senses already, man? That seems like an aggressive smirk. I'm sorry to say that I still have my doubts, Larry. Nick! You're you're as delusional as Mr. Gavin if you still think that Larry could be the killer now, right? Expect no quarter from me during the cross-examination either. Edgeworth, me trying to uncover the truth here. Well, guess this must be how you felt as well earlier, huh, Kristoph? In any case, it sounds like we still have a locked room aspect to solve here. So it would seem I have to cooperate here if we want to get to the bottom of this one. So get ready. Wright and myself versus Edgeworth and Mr. Butts. The tag team match we never knew we needed. This is starting to look like quite the confrontation. I just hope we can get through this before my time here is up. Well then, the defense may commence the cross-examination. Alright, let's do this. Indeed, Mr. Butts. As I mentioned before, if the killer had left the vending machine in the vault after the murder, then their trick would have been seen through instantly once the police would break into the vault. That's why the killer brought the victim's safe in the staff lounge and disguised it as a second safe. Exactly. But are you implying that you couldn't have done that, Mr. Butts? Well, I'm pretty strong, so I could probably push a vending machine with the help of a trolley, I guess. But there's a problem here that prevents you from doing that, isn't there, Mr. Butts? Yeah, that's right.
Hold it.
Indeed a problem. Perhaps so. But just to hear it in your own words, witness, what exactly confirms that the vault door was locked at the time? Well, for one, the police confirmed the lock was engaged when they broke open the door, didn't they? Why am I doing my edgy voice there? So, isn't that confirmation enough? I suppose so. Continue.
Hold it.
Because the vault key is the only thing that could unlock the vault door, you mean? Yep. And Nick's camera even shows Mr. Elflash had the vault key in his hand right before he was killed. It's not like I could have secretly had it in my pocket or something either. Let's go ahead and take another look at the footage, in fact. That blue diamond shape in his hand is unmistakably the vault door key, don't you think? So Mr. Elflash had it, and the door was locked. There's no way I could have used it. Can we be absolutely certain it's the vault key that the victim has in his hand there, however? It might be a different item with a similar blue diamond shape that he had in his hand. Or Mr. Butts had the true vault key on him at the time. Tisk tisk. That item in the victim's hand could only be the vault key, Mr. Gavin. The police would have found said other item with the blue diamond shape in the casino otherwise. I can assure you that the only item with a blue diamond shape they found in their extensive search is the key. Was the one and only vault key. So the possibility I had the vault key on me is out. Too bad for you, Chrissy dude. Don't ever call me that again, Larry.
Hold it.
But is that really true? Might have been able to slip past him somehow. Why don't you ask Nick that, Chrissy? Didn't he say he stayed in the main hall the entire time after calling the police? Indeed. He's on record saying he stayed there to keep track of everyone's movements. Larry is certainly right about that, Kristoph. I think I would have noticed if he entered the main hall from either the staff lounge or the kitchen. See? And if we check the casino map, we can also see that. It's impossible to enter the side hall from my location without passing through the main hall.
Hold it.
Yeah, this is definitely new music. Was it really, however? Perhaps there still was a way for someone to enter the vault despite all the facts we know currently. Dude, just look at the casino map! Do you see anywhere to go there without using the vault door going through the secret passage? Yeah, I didn't think so. He's not wrong. There are only two ways to enter the vault. So if Larry really is the killer, then in order to get the vending machine out of the vault, he'd have no choice but to enter the vault through one of those ways. And out of those two ways, the only viable way would have been to use the vault door. that's true, then the door had to have been accessible at some point after the murder. It would seem that the door was locked and the key was inside the vault at the time. So what could even propose then? Now then, how could Mr. Butts have entered the vault like that? I don't think even bluffing will help us here, in fact. Any of the tricks you know of, right? Now that you mention it. You ever tried thinking outside the box before? Is that what you call simply thinking of alternate possibilities, right? Let's just focus on one thing and forget all the other details for the moment here, okay? We agree that Larry had to have had entered the vault from the staff lounge in order to get in, right? Instead of thinking how Larry could have entered the vault while it was locked with the key being inside, let's consider how the vault door could have been locked after Larry was done in there. I mean, locking the door from the staff lounge while the vault key remained inside the vault. So sorry to interrupt, Mr. Gavin. I couldn't help but overhear that. But it should go without saying that it'd be impossible to lock the vault door without the vault key. If you wish to claim otherwise, then I'd expect you to prove I have evidence to prove the contrary. Is that so, Mr. Edgeworth? Well... Why not? We'll take a stab at it. I'll have you know that locking the vault door without the vault key is definitely possible. Oh? Amusing. I'm gonna back off for now. I was about to claim anything of this sort. Glad we're all clear on that, then. Please continue with your testimony, Mr. Butts. Right, so...
Hold it!
If it wasn't you, then who did? Betty, he was not me, really. Probably someone who had easy access to the side hall where the secret passage was. And likely either defendant or Miss Toon, who were in the slots hall and locker room, respectively. Heck, maybe it could even be Nick, since he's tried to throw me under the bus here. Like, what the heck, man? He had access to the side hall for the main hall and everything, too. Larry, watch yourself with such claims. We're trying to save you and Wright both here, remember? Yeah, sorry. My bad. Perhaps I underestimated Mr. Butts. He appears very well informed on the facts of this case. He did watch most of the trials that went on, after all. I doubt you'll easily catch him off guard about it. I'm sure together we can think of something. It's quite the backup, however. Right, let's not forget about Edgeworth either. We should be careful in considering what we can and can't prove when he's trying to corner us.
Hold it!
Only two ways to enter the vault. Thinking outside of the box. How the vault door could have been locked after Larry was done in there. Why not? Go for it. It's entirely possible. To go to the vault door, because the door is designed to be easy to lock, yet impossible to unlock. Good luck picking.
Take that!
Please direct your attention to this information regarding the vault door provided by Detective Gumshoe. It mentions that the vault door is specifically designed to be easy to lock. I'd like to indicate that in order to lock the vault door, you do not necessarily need the vault key. Perhaps by prying the lock with a certain tool, you can engage it in its locked state. If you could read the report, Mr. Gavin, if anything, it's saying the complete opposite, no? What states that the vault door is impossible to unlock through lockpicking. Impossible to unlock, certainly. Yet nowhere in this report does it state that it's impossible to lock through lockpicking. Yeah. Now you see what I'm getting at. Let me ask the court this. What if at some point after the murder, the vault door was accessible? This then allowed the killer to enter the vault, retrieve the vending machine, and put it in the safe. Afterwards, the killer locked the vault door by picking it shut from the outside. All while the vault key remained inside the vault in order to fool us that they couldn't have used it. There could have been plenty of items in the office that the killer could use to fiddle with the door lock as well. Not a bad suggestion, Kristoph. I will see that it could have been possible to lock the vault door without the vault key then. However, that doesn't mean that the door was unlocked after the murder at some point. Neither does it confirm that the killer did indeed lock the vault door without the key afterwards. Without evidence of all that, you cannot possibly use this possibility to assert that Mr. Butts is the killer. Any proof that the door was in fact unlocked, that the killer locked it without the key. This I do not know. Unless we say that the vault key is the evidence. No. No, but the narrative, if I recall, is that L Flash was trying to unlock the door and escape. I don't think so. I believe it's sufficient to have only proven the possibility here for now. Uh-oh. Maybe something I can uncover somewhere else now. The defense will concede that we cannot definitively prove Mr. Butts locked the door without the key. Oh. This is actually the... Huh. We legitimately can't prove it, so... Does this unlock something else then? Wise choice, Mr. Gavin. I see you have some sanity left in you after all. I'm afraid without further evidence, your proposed possibility will remain just that. And thus there is no reason for the court to believe that it's truly what happened during the crime. Mr. Butts, please continue your testimony now. Right, so... What have we proven here? Confirmed to be locked. Perhaps so. You know, words witness. What exactly confirms that the vault door was locked at the time? Please confirm the lock was engaged. We were happy with that. I beg to differ, Mr. Butts. Just now I established a possibility that the vault door could have been unlocked. That the killer could have locked it later from the staff lounge without using the vault key. I'm afraid that the police confirming the lock was engaged when they broke open the door is by itself not enough to say that the door was locked during the murder anymore. Yeah, okay, yeah, fine. Still, that shouldn't matter one bit, man. It's also the thing that happened right before the murder. Remember, both me and Nick tried to open the door right before Mr. L Flash got stabbed. And from that, we both confirmed that the door was already locked because it wouldn't open. So there, your possibility that the vault door wasn't locked doesn't even hold up. Odd. Why wouldn't he start out with that argument? Is he trying to not bring attention to it before? We should have it added to his testimony. Yeah, sure, more testimony. Better. God, our request for that information to be included in the witness's testimony. Certainly, Mr. Butts, if you would. Hey, no problem. No problem at all. Nope. Malicious smirk. Malicious smirk.
Hold it.
This was after the two of you entered the staff lounge, mere moments before the murder, yes? Yeah, man, it was when we saw Mr. Elflash inside the vault, looking all distressed and in need of help. I mean, you even saw us try the door in Nick's video footage and everything, right? Why else would our fingerprints be on the door handle? That's certainly true, but... did you really properly try to open the vault door? It's difficult to ascertain from the video, after all. I'm meaning this point to question, Mr. Gavin. Even Larry would know how to properly open a door. Someone lying about the door being locked by pretending to try and open it is impossible as well. Both Mr. Wright and Mr. Butts tried the door and found it to be locked. We know at least one of them would have no reason to lie. So we'd be dealing with two liars, otherwise we can thus confirm that the door was indeed locked. If you somehow still have doubts, you can always ask Mr. Wright about it yourself. Afraid I can't argue with that. I tried to open the vault door, it definitely wouldn't budge. Where's the door handle? Did it go all the way down? It did, but not all doors keep the handle stuck in place when locked, you know. So was the door truly locked then? But perhaps there's still a way for you to have unlocked the door, Mr. Butts. I don't think so, Chrissy.
Hold it!
Yes. What else can we learn about this door? What else can we confirm about this? Wait a minute. Hold up. Let's look at this a second here. The door opens inward. Oh, fuck. He faked the door being locked by just parking the fucking vending machine up against the door, because the door opens inward. The vault door opens inward, so... there's your... shit, there's your answer. There it is, alright. I was thinking like they tried to pull on a push door, but then I realized the actual truth here. That is clever. That is honestly clever. It opens inward, so... wouldn't open when we tried it because there's a fucking vending machine up against the door. Can we just shout out for a moment that... Can we just shout out for a moment that you've managed to make a case where you sit there and you tell me that the murder was performed by using a vending machine. And I'm just... yeah, that tracks. And I'm just not only just accepting it, but just somehow turned a vending machine into... You somehow turned a murder using a freaking vending machine into, like, insanely good piece of logic, which is playing several roles in this mystery, and also just in general an insanely compelling mystery too. A vending machine! A vending machine! It's beautiful! Why, how interesting. On first glance, it would seem you are simply prone to making false assumptions, Mr. Butts. It was also the nature of the contradictions in your first two testimonies of this trial, after all. But in retrospect, those were just lies disguised as wrong assumptions as well, weren't they? Hey, you saying I'm lying here? I'm not saying you're truthing. Well, how can I be lying about something Nick can confirm all the same, huh? I'll tell you, Mr. Butts. When Mr. Wright tried opening the vault door, it wouldn't budge. And thus he assumed it had to be locked. But you knew full well that wasn't the reason the door didn't open, didn't you? But what other reason could there be for the door not opening, Mr. Gavin? This is one of those answers that's insanely fucking obvious. There's a giant fucking vending machine in the way. None other than the vending machine that the killer placed in front of the vault door, Your Honor. And this casino map should tell us why. Alright, please point open. We'll point at the door opening path. As you can see, the vault door opens inwards into the vault. As we know, the vending machine had to be placed right in front of the door inside the vault. Trying to open the door with that vending machine in the way would be obviously cause it to not budge. Ah! So maybe I only thought it was locked because it wouldn't open, but in reality it was simply blocked. That might mean the door was actually unlocked at the time. This also raises an interesting question. Was Bethany... Is our client an accessory to this? It's going to raise the question of how did Larry get the vault door open with the vending machine there? Or did he just aggressively force it open? Which might be a solution, but... Like, the only other option was, Bethany was in there to, move the vault door away. Move the vending machine away once the coast was clear. Indeed. But the killer obviously knew that all along. She could also just be innocent. And upon Mr. Wright making this false assumption, they just decided to play along with that. Well, Mr. Butts, wouldn't you agree that the vault door could have been unlocked now, at least? Yeah. So what, man? This all would still mean that I couldn't have opened that door, right? Not sure what you think has changed here. Exactly. Even if we were to assume that the vault door was actually unlocked, Mr. Butts would still be unable to enter the vault to get the vending machine out. Just not because of a locked door, but because of a vending machine that was blocking the door. This supposition of yours changes nothing, Mr. Gavin. Or does it? All Mr. Butts would need to do now in order to gain access to the vault would be to push the vending machine away from the door. How could he have done that when the vault door would be in the way? If you were to try and push the vending machine by simply pushing the door forcefully, you'd be pushing the vending machine with just the door handle from a very odd angle. It just wouldn't work to get the door open and gain access to the vault. Not to mention that the victim's body would still be inside the vending machine as well. No matter how you look at it, the vending machine would be far too heavy to push away with the door. That's true. What if Mr. Butts was able to push the vending machine some other way? Some other way? Like how? For example, something else could have been doing the heavy pushing for him as leverage of sorts. Since the vault door would be in the way of the vending machine, it could be something he could use to push it directly. In other words, Mr. Butts would be pushing the vending machine remotely. Wait, that would be possible, dude? Oh, this is gonna come back to... This is gonna come back to the thing that I expected to be the key piece of evidence in the safe when I first wanted to implicate Larry. That would be... a Steel Samurai. Oh, but it is. You simply need to place a certain something in between the door and the vending machine. It could easily have been done in advance while you were initially setting up this murder trick. Oh yeah? Well then you tell me! How can I push that thing remotely? Steel
Say
Samurai.
that!
Ah, it seems you can already see where this is going, don't you, Mr. Butts? That's right. You could have done it with this inflatable Steel Samurai! Trademark. Oh, hell yeah. Tales of Vesperia? Tales of Vesperia, hell yeah. The inflatable Steel Samurai? You're saying that's what could have pushed the vending machine? Exactly, Your Honor. The very thing Mr. Butts for. Mr. Butts brought with him to the casino yesterday. When inflated, it would be thin enough to fit in between the vault door and the vending machine. As long as the inflatable would be placed directly below the vault door window, nobody would see it. But then, when inflated while in this position, it would naturally push the vending machine away. How could Mr. Butts have inflated it while in the staff lounge? The pressure necessary to inflate it can be operated with a remote control, Your Honor. It could easily be connected to the inflatable while out of view somewhere inside the vault. Likewise, it can also quickly deflate the Steel Samurai with a touch of a button on the remote as well. Which would then allow Mr. Butts to open the vault door and retrieve the vending machine that way. Yes. This is all baseless conjecture. Not quite, Edgeworth. I think what Mr. Gavin just said makes perfect sense. For this, the last remaining oddity in Mr. Tomb's testimony would be resolved as well. That inflatable wasn't there when I got out of the door. Do you losers even have the right script version? Me to say it wasn't blocking the door. And it wasn't in the kitchen at all. So I had no trouble getting out through that eastmost door. This inflatable was apparently missing from its location in the kitchen shortly before the murder. Now where could it have been? I'd say it's likely that the killer took it and set it up deflated inside the vault for a trick such as this. That is why Miss Tomb didn't see it inside the kitchen and could leave the room through the eastern door. Yeah! Not bad, right? And thanks for the backup there. You're not the only one who knows how to use logic, you know. Let's save the thanks for later. You still have to see this through to the end, after all. Of course. It is as Mr. Wright has said. The killer, having put the Steel Samurai into the vault, would explain its disappearance in the kitchen. Later, they used it to retrieve the vending machine from the vault after the murder occurred. After placing the vending machine inside the victim's safe, they brought the inflatable Steel Samurai back to its original position in the kitchen. And who not only had access to the kitchen, but also claimed they were there after the murder. Ah! That's a fucking terrifying expression. God damn. Order. Order. I suppose it's still possible for Mr. Butts to have been the killer, then. Therefore, even though it is as of yet unproven, we'll still have to consider him a suspect as well. Mr. Butts, is there anything you wish to say in response to that? What? Are you nuts? Of course do I have something to say about that. First off, Nick, still not see what you're doing here by helping Chrissy make me look bad? Do you really think if we continue on like this, we can still remain friends? You said you're doing this to find the truth, but is that really more important to you than friendship? Well... Right? Was he okay? And second off, it's still absolutely impossible for me to be the killer. And why is that, Mr. Butts? Because there was no way for me to have set up this murder trick with a vending machine, Chrissy. Is that so? Could you please elaborate further on that, Mr. Butts? Sure, let me explain. Uh-oh. When you're 2 hours into Netflix and chill and he gives you that look. Oh no. To kill someone to use that vending machine trick, you still need to put in money and press a button. When do you think I'd possibly have the chance to do that? I could have done it before I entered the staff lounge with Nick. murder would happen too soon. That's the moment I was trying the vault door in the staff lounge, then the door itself would be in the way. In fact, I wasn't even standing anywhere near the vault door when Mr. Elflash died. Now, obviously, nobody could have done it for me. They'd have no reason to do that. There was literally 0 ways for me to do it. The killer must be someone else. There, do you see it now? I could only ever be 100% innocent here. And just like that, he caught a second win. He's a slippery one, I'll give him that. Mr. Butts is correct. In order to perform this murder trick, you'd need to be able to operate the vending machine. Only someone who could have been inside the vault at the time of the crime could have done that. Someone like the defendant or Miss Toombs, since they had access to the secret passage. As for the light from the side hall that should have been visible on Mr. Wright's camera, it was likely blocked off by the vending machine, which was in front of the vault door window. Ah, I suppose so then. Sincerest apologies for the presumptuous conclusion I made earlier, Mr. Butts. Yeah, you better be sorry, old man. Nick, it's good that Chrissy's only trying to make it seem like I'm the killer because he's evil and has no soul. Your so-called friend is obviously lying and manipulating you there. You realize already that you're helping the wrong guy now? Right. Are you doing alright? Sorry, Kristoph. I just don't know what to do right now. I'm not sure if I'm really doing the right thing here by helping you uncover the truth after all. Am I truly making things better if revealing the truth will destroy the friendship I have with Larry? Larry's one of my best friends, too, you know. Wright seems rather troubled. I suppose that makes sense, given the situation he's dealing with. He's constantly been helping me. Perhaps I should help him out as well, for a change. Genuinely. I'm just not very good at this sort of thing. Still, I feel I should give it a try, at least. Right. Did you say that as long as you seek out the truth, everything can work out? I'm here now because I decided to believe in that. But I'll need your help to continue on as well. I know, but what if I'm wrong? In this case, it's definitely going to destroy something I care about. I know that right now it looks like uncovering the truth might make things worse, but think of it as bluffing. Seeking out the truth is like bluffing, isn't it? Maybe uncertain of the outcome, but depending on how you go about it, will make all the difference in how favorable it tends to be. Some would bluff to get away with a lie, but if even only one person catches on, you'd be in trouble. Whereas if you bluff because it seems your hand could be the winning one despite it being weak, and the outcome will often be much more favorable. Next card coming up will not change, after all. Perhaps that's why. Bluffing often only works when you're pursuing the truth and are genuine yourself. So I suppose as long as you stay genuine in your actions, even in moments of peril and uncertainty, you're doing the right thing for the best possible outcome, no? I suppose you're right about that. Thanks, Kristoph. Didn't you also say to save the thanks for later? Guess you got me there. Well, it's later. Let's finish this then, shall we? Perhaps you could start with the cross-examination now, Mr. Gavin? But of course, Your Honor. You not only have to prove how Mr. Butts could have operated the vending machine to kill the victim, we also need decisive evidence that he did that. This is the final stretch. I know we can do this. Evil Larry.
Hold it!
What do you mean to say by that? Dude, you know how vending machines work, right? You said that Mr. Elflash was inside a vending machine that then pushed a knife into his back? Well, that would require the killer to put in some money and press the button that would push the knife. How else could the vending machine otherwise have killed Mr. Elflash, huh? I suppose so. What is your point regarding that? Activating the vending machine would have been an effortless task to do, even for someone like you. Oh yeah?
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that you had no opportunity to activate the vending machine at any point? Well, duh. What do you think I was What did you think I was saying? I was inviting you to guess when I could have done it? Well, surely you must have had an opportunity at some point, at least. Yeah, how about not even a single chance in hell, Chrissy? Absolutely zero fat chances. In fact, let me tell you in order why I couldn't have done it at any moment at all.
Hold it!
So you're saying that you couldn't have activated that vending machine before you were with Mr. Wright? Exactly. I was with him in the vocal hall for a while before the murder happened, remember? So if I were the one who knocked out Mr. Elflash and placed him at that vending machine, and I had pressed the button on the vending machine that had killed him back then, before I was with Nick, you wouldn't even have seen Mr. Elflash live in the staff lounge for a brief moment, you know? Where were you before the two of you were together in the poker hall, anyhow? I was already in the poker hall before Nick came in there, Chrissy. Just ask him if you don't believe me. At what time did Mr. Wright come in? 1 to 1:55 p.m. or so, wasn't it, Nick? That's true. We were together in the poker hall for at least 10 minutes before we went to look for Mr. Elflash. Then that should make it crystal clear. Before Mr. Wright and Mr. Butts met in the poker hall, neither of them could have done anything that would have caused the vending machine to kill the victim. Is that really true? Let it go. I'll ignore this for now. About the moment you saw you and Mr. Wright were in the staff lounge then? As I think the answer is here.
Hold it!
You suppose since the vault door opens inward, it'd be difficult to press the button directly. I bet you doing that unnoticed, since Mr. Wright was with you at the time. Great! Then you agree with me being able to do that while in the staff lounge. It's a no-go, too. Yeah? Hold on, Mr. Butts. I wasn't yet finished. See, there was a moment in the video footage when you suddenly ran towards the vault door. Almost as if you wished to do something there before Mr. Wright could get close to the door himself. It's suspicious, wouldn't you say? What? Come on, man. All I did was run ahead because it seemed like Mr. Elflash was in trouble. Or did you? Mr. Wright's camera didn't have the best view of you in the vault door as you tried opening it, I'd say. Perhaps it's possible you could have quickly done something to operate the vending machine back then. It's gotta come back to the vault door, isn't it? Because there's like an open keyhole that you might be able to slip a key through. My mind blanked out there for a moment. Yeah. Like what, dude? Well, what if we managed to press the vending machine's button? Oh, question mark here. Through the keyhole. Through the keyhole on the door. It is a rather big keyhole, after all. The opening might be large enough to reach the button, the vending machine, on the other side. Pah! Get real. That keyhole may be big, but it ain't that big. You know what else, Chrissy? Is this a new statement?
Hold it!
So it would be possible to reach the buttons through the keyhole with your fingers, you say? You got that right, Chrissy. Distance between me and the buttons would be too great. So the keyhole is also way too small for my fingers to squeeze through. So are we also looking for what he used to? We don't have any evidence for that. You got some really thick fingers, after all. Just ask the ladies. Wow. Too much information, Mr. Butts. Mr. Butts' jokes aside, I'd like to add that if Mr. Butts had tried to press the button through the keyhole with his finger, his fingerprints would in all likelihood be found near the keyhole itself. His fingerprints... Yes, his fingerprints were only ever found on the door handle of the vault door. Seems rather concrete. I'm afraid if Larry really did reach the buttons of the vending machine through the keyhole, you have to show how he did that some other way. I believe you're right. So everyone agrees now that when I tried the door, I couldn't have pressed the button, yeah?
Hold it!
That may be, but if you managed to operate the vending machine while trying the door... It would have taken some time for that vending machine to have pushed that knife, no? I guess. I think we already established that couldn't have happened, right, Chrissy? But instead, could you clarify where exactly you were standing where the victim died? You were not in view on Mr. Wright's camera during that moment, after all. Simply standing behind Nick, right next to the landline phone on Mr. L-Flash's desk. Actually, I was already trying to call the police on that thing just before Mr. L-Flash got stabbed. So you would be able to, say, have done something to operate the vending machine remotely. What kind of question is that? Of course not. Why would you think I could have done that? It's not unthinkable considering the murder method we are discussing is already remote in nature, Mr. Butts. And since you were out of view from Mr. Wright's camera when the murder occurred, we cannot verify your exact actions during that moment either. Well, then let me tell you why I could have operated that vending machine remotely, Chrissy.
Hold it!
That's so. This inflatable steel samurai was inside the vault. Couldn't it have done exactly that? Until you inflated it, it would cause to press the button necessary to activate the vending machine. Did it even work? If anything, would that just push the vending machine away? Much as something like that would be easily noticeable on Mr. Wright's video camera, I'd say. Great Edgeworth might be right about that. Larry really did manage to operate the vending machine remotely. We'll need to prove that some other way, at least. Perhaps I'm thinking a bit too creatively for my own good here. Okay. And that's it for ways I could have been the one to press that button on the vending machine.
Hold it!
As an accomplice who'd be inside the vault while you were in the staff lounge, you mean? Well, duh, I think it's safe to say I wouldn't have one, yeah? If Bethany or Lily were my accomplice, they'd have spoken up about that by now, don't you think? Especially after both already being considered suspects at this point. I wonder, what if the button on the vending machine was pressed on accident by someone then? Not likely, Mr. Gavin. Someone who's inside the vault pressed the button on the vending machine. There'd be no reason to think that would be due to an accident. Even if it was an accident, wouldn't that mean they'd be responsible for the crime anyways? Well, not if you were able to manipulate them into doing so, Mr. Butts. I must agree with the points made by the prosecution and the witness, however. If the defense wishes to assert that someone inside the vault pressed the button by accident, this would then provide evidence how that witness could have manipulated such events. I suggest you think hard about whether you have that evidence, Kristoph. This may not even be the right angle for us to take here. Good point. We should take that into account. Let's not. The defense does not have any evidence to present at this time, Your Honor. Very well. Please continue. What you said earlier was all bark and no bite, then? I'm afraid that ran out of options about how we could be guilty of this crime, Chrissy.
Hold it!
If you're not the killer, why did you initially lie about staying in the staff lounge? Just when it became clear that the killer had to have been in the staff lounge after the murder, too. That kind of perjury seems in line with something the killer would do. I just didn't want to say that I demanded my duties to the security guard because I was hungry, okay? I just knew people were gonna bail at me if I was up front with that. We cannot deny that that's an extremely convenient excuse. But we also can't deny that it was impossible for Mr. Butts to have operated the vending machine. Someone who could have been in the vault at the time of the murder would have had a far easier time to press the button on the vending machine than Mr. Butts ever did. Therefore, I believe we can now finally say that Mr. Butts is not the killer. I don't think of a way how Mr. Butts could have operated the vending machine soon. The truth will be forever lost. I cannot let that happen. Never expected Larry to be capable of making such strong arguments. He really really did do this crime, then he must have operated the vending machine somehow. Proving how he could have done that is easier said than done, however. The problem is that there seems to be many different ways to consider how he could have done it. Not to mention that we'll also need evidence to prove he did in fact do it as well. Let's focus on how it could have been possible for now. Some of those ways on how he could have pressed that button should be far more viable than others, at least. And that leaves proving one of those ways was possible. But there aren't too many pieces of evidence in the court record that seem to fit. That might actually help us now to narrow down the truth rather than hinder us, you know? Just make sure you give a long, hard look at the court record before you present something. Sounds like a plan, then. We do not have much time left. I can see this through before my time runs out. Okay, so here's the answer. We had this conversation. I was having this conversation to myself because the recording was still paused at the time, but this is one of those things that are probably going to make sense in hindsight. It's probably going to reference something specific. It's the first piece of logic which I think requires you to think outside of the text to make this assumption. But Larry is selling samurai dogs, and he just needs to reach through the keyhole to push the buttons, so that is going to be the answer. The more I think about it, I had to experiment a lot to find this, since I was convinced this was the way. It's one of those things where I'd throw a whole bunch of shit at the wall to figure it out, but once it got there, it kind of makes sense.
Objection!
Extraordinary. Much more clever than I gave you credit for, Mr. Butts. I think you were capable of planning so far ahead. My hat's off to you. Oh, what are you on about, Chrissy? You planned for this contingency from the moment we met when you gave me that item, didn't you? Wait, you know what? Just take it. I insist. I get another copy of my administration anyway. Are you certain this is legal? Sure, probably. Maybe we could help you out in some way, right? Consider it a gift. Imagine you gave me this because it played a role in the crime. Thus you felt you had to get rid of it. Clever, but not clever enough. You were right about it helping me out in some way, however. Oh, that's an interesting take on it. Would you please explain the meaning of all this, Mr. Captain? Certainly, Your Honor. Mr. Butts, you say it was impossible for you to have pressed the buttons of the vending machine. Reaching for it through the keyhole when you tried the vault door at the time of the crime. Perhaps it would have been impossible if you tried to squeeze your finger down the keyhole. You simply used a pencil? This. That's Mr. Butts' administration from much earlier this trial. That's not what I was referring to, Your Honor. What I actually mean is the pencil that came with it. That thing Mr. Butts had on him ever since yesterday before he gave it to me. Okay, alright, that works. This long and thin object could have easily fit through the keyhole to press the necessary button, no? Suppose that when Mr. Butts tried the vault door, he used this pencil to do exactly that. What he needed to operate the vending machine could have been inserted long in advance. By handing the pencil away in his sleeve and quickly whipping it out as he tried the door, Mr. Butts could activate the vending machine that ended up killing the victim trapped inside of it. Shock dick. Ah, he's lying, and never give him that. I've never seen that pencil before in my life. That guy's trying to make me look guilty with some pencil I never had on me before. Not so fast, Larry. I was there with Kristoph when he gave him that yesterday. So I can confirm you definitely had that pencil on you yesterday as well. Hold it! Yeah, well, you're in for it. You're on it too, Nick. You two conspiring together, I tell ya. I never had anything that could have been fit through that keyhole, let alone that pencil you claim is mine. Double objection! I'm sorry, Larry, but it can easily be proven. This pencil is yours. This administration of yours was handwritten with a pencil, it seems. Therefore, by simply comparing the lead of this pencil with the writings in this paper, a simple penmanship analysis in case you claim that administration is not yours either. You can verify that this is your pencil. Ah! Oh, this is good.
Objection!
It's quite enough. Stop making this seem more important than it actually is. I can accept this is indeed a pencil Larry would have on him at the time of the crime. That it could have been used to press the button that would have operated the vending machine. Can't actually prove it, can we? What exactly does that prove? Nothing. That's what. After all, we cannot clearly see in the camera footage that Mr. Butts used his pencil as he tried the door. Just because he had that pencil on him doesn't prove he used it to operate the vending machine with it. Huh. Oh, good point. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So what if I even had the pencil on me, huh? Like, fine, I admit that the pencil is mine. I had that one on me yesterday, but so what? All people who own a pencil at this time of the crime guilty of murder or something? Doesn't prove a thing, let alone that I killed the victim. Larry, stop it. Just come clean already. Don't make this harder for me than it already is. You two got nothing on me and you know it, Nick. Looks like he's still not giving up. What do you do now, Kristoph? I have to prove Larry used that pencil to press the vending machine's buttons somehow. That would really require some really decisive evidence. Indeed. At the same time, I think Mr. Butts' overconfidence here makes me feel such evidence does exist. Oh, it's on the door. Mr. Butts and anyone else here doesn't seem to be aware of it. What if we tried one last bluff here, right? Sounds good to me. You can take the lead, Kristoph. And I gladly will. The evidence to prove that Mr. Butts is the killer has got to be out there somewhere. This is a bet that I can confidently make. My hand is the strongest hand in the game right now. It's over, Mr. Butts. We have the high ground. We can in fact prove that this pencil was used to press the button on the vending machine. Nice bluff, dude. I'm sure you're gonna back up that claim with some evidence or something, right? I'd expect some very convincing evidence to come with such a claim as well, Mr. Gavin. No need to worry, Your Honor. Why did I make the judge British there? No need to worry, Your Honor. I have exactly that. More crooked lies for the crooked attorney. Well, let's hear it then, Chrissy. Where's your proof that I pressed the vending machine with the buttons with that pencil?
Take that!
The vending machine itself? Perhaps you should have taken a more careful look at this, Mr. Butts. Well, what do you mean? Disguised vending machine, Mr. Gavin? Correct, Your Honor. If you look at it closely, you'll see the final piece to this puzzle. I must ask you to point it out for us, Mr. Gavin. Please show us what proves that a pencil was used to operate the vending machine. You see the black mark of that 5?
Take that!
I would like you all to take a close look at this 5 here on the number pad. Notice anything? Now that you mention it, there does seem to be a grey smudge of sorts in that 5. Whatever could that be? Pencil lead would be my guess, Your Honor. Mr. Butts' own pencil, but he used it to press the vending machine's button, no doubt. I'd imagine pressing this 5 would cause the vending machine to push the knife into the victim. And said button would also likely be at the same height as the keyhole of the vault door, which the killer could then press by inserting the pencil into the keyhole, setting up the murder. All appearing to simply try a locked door on the other side, solidifying their perfect alibi. For as clever as this murder trick was, it seems Mr. Butts himself wasn't clever enough to use the other end of the pencil to press the button, leaving this trace of pencil lead on it. I suppose you never have even noticed this smudge as you disguised the vending machine either, did you? Hi! No! Oh, it's not in the go, it's in the ga. Mr. Butts, earlier you admitted that you had this pencil on you at the time of the crime. It suggests that we compare the lead of your pencil to the smudge of this vending machine. If they're the same, I would say that proves you killed the victim with this method. Wouldn't you agree? Your teeth. Wow. That was impressive. We turned into a Yoshi there for a moment. That is all. I can't believe this. Larry, did you really kill someone? Right, it's true, Edgy. Should have known. Something smells. It's usually the butts. Larry, just tell me this one last thing. Why? Why would you murder someone? Just anyone but your boss. Not just killing him, but lying to me in the process to give yourself the perfect alibi. Why? Why I did it? I did it for you, Nick. Do you still not get that? What? Explain yourself, Mr. Butts. I knew about Mr. Elfash's plan to scam people out of their money in the poker tournament. Oh shit. A few weeks ago, after I was hired, Mr. Elfash invited Libby to his casino for a talk. The girl was pretty cute looking, so I decided to spy on them from the peephole in the kitchen. That's when I heard it all. Yes, here's the entry fee money to make it look like you are a legit entrant for the tournament. As I told you before, I will deal you all the winning cards during the tournament, so you'll be the winner. Let's swindle some idiot wannabe poker players and make them see what a real champion looks like, eh? I was shocked to see that my boss was such an immoral person. At the time, it wasn't really anything I felt I had to do something about either. Sure, my boss was planning to do a bad thing, but I also felt it wasn't really anything to lose my job over. The day the tournament came, to my surprise, Nick was there as well. Nick, that you? Larry? Wow, it's been years, hasn't it? Yeah, hey, how have you been? How's the lawyer business going for you? Oh, well, I lost my badge, like, years ago. Oh, I'm not a lawyer anymore, anyway. Actually, it's a long story. Let's just say something happened 7 years ago that caused me to lose my job. It's been pretty rough, honestly. Got a daughter to take care of now, too. Kinda wish I had some more support going through it all, but them's the breaks, I guess. I love the passive aggressiveness. Uh-oh, I never knew. Oh, I'm scraping by. In fact, today might even mark the day when I can turn it all around. Oh shit, that's gonna end up being the reason why he did it, didn't he? I'm scraping by. I'm just gonna passive-aggressively throw an innocent little guilt trip at you. Got a plan to get my old life back. That's why I put all my savings into entering this poker tournament. Oh, yep, that's definitely. As long as I win, I can get my life back on track. You entered the tournament? With all your savings? Don't worry, I'm an undefeated poker player nowadays. There's no way I'll lose this tournament. Honestly, I felt really bad. Not only was I not there for one of my best friends when he was going through some tough times, I knew the tournament was unwinnable for him, that he'd lose all his money in the process. Nick's always been there for me through thick and thin, even defended me in court once. How was Larry be feeling in the bad ending then? When he just did this for Nick and then got Nick put in jail. Was wasn't going to let his life get ruined even further by some unfair poker scam. Nick had already entered the tournament at that point and would not be able to hold back out anymore. And Mr. Elflash would never cancel the tournament for this if I had asked him. The reason he started this scam was because his casino would go bankrupt otherwise, after all. So I took matters into my own hands. Knowing these kinds of murder cases from Nick and Edgy, I knew I had to be clever about it. These murder cases always end in someone innocent getting arrested, you know? So I wanted to make it doubly sure that whoever was going to be would not be me or Nick. Hence the vending machine murder trick to create a perfect alibi for yourself and Mr. Wright. All the pieces just kind of fell into place when I came up with this plan. I knew about the secret passage and the safe combination because Mr. Elflash told me about those. And I happened to bring that puffy steel samurai inflatable with me that day. Oh, wow, so it really was off the cuff. Those metal tiles I could use in the staff lab, Mr. Elflash's tendencies to check his vault. I knew about the old vending machines in the side hall. I thought it'd all make for the perfect crime. Despite not everything going as I planned, things somehow ended up going better than I expected. I never realized Libby caught a glimpse of me knocking out Mr. Elflash. Unfortunately, she never saw my face or was otherwise able to identify me. Nor did she decide to tell anyone about what she saw before the murder could happen. I never intended for Bethany to get framed either. I just forgot her fingerprints were still on the knife. I never expected her to return the money I temporarily had put in the slots hall. Ah, there's that coming up. I just kinda banked on people thinking some unknown killer stabbed Mr. Elflash in the vault, but then mysteriously managed to get away unseen somehow. Bethany was found inside the vault later. I just went up with a story that the police made up. Then there's the part where I needed to be alone in the staff lodge after the murder. I'd have insisted to guard the door, and I would have asked Nick to call the cops with the payphone. Weirdly enough, Nick ended up being the one to suggest that. About that, there's still one aspect about your plan that's unclear to me. You obviously needed time to remove the vending machine and to disguise it as a second safe. What if Mr. Wright had decided to return to the staff lounge after calling the police in the main hall? We'd have caught you in the act. I'm sure that you would have anticipated that to happen. Oh, yeah. Well, it prevented Nick from coming back into the staff lounge while I did my thing. I quickly blocked those two doors from the kitchen and the staff lounge that connects the main hall. Those doors opened inwardly, so by blocking them with some stuff right after Nick left, he'd not be able to return to catch me doing something I didn't want him to see. Simple but smart. If you'd wonder why the staff lounge door wouldn't budge all of a sudden, I'd just tell him that the door simply jams occasionally. Smart, huh? But hey, I guess that didn't end up being necessary. I suppose his original plan was a bit less thought out than I had surmised. Not just that, but his plan could have gone awry on several occasions, yet miraculously it never did. What incredible luck! So you killed Mr. Elflash to help me? Yeah, exactly. Because we're best friends, Nick. I want to make it up to you for neglecting our friendship these last 7 years. Mr. Elflash deserved to be the dirty scammer that tried to ruin your life anyway. But damn it, Nick! Why'd you and Chrissy have to bring all this stuff I did to light? This didn't need to happen. This could have just gone by and nothing would have to change. You just done said nothing, but you didn't. Did you care so little about our friendship? We're supposed to help each other, like how I helped you, you know? Betrayed me. Now my life and our friendship is forever ruined, thanks to you. Larry, even if you were trying to help me, why would you resort to murder? You think killing someone would make me happy? That coming to suspect you of murder would? My friend is a killer and having to bring them to justice? You think trying to hide that would make me feel better about that, or that my life would improve? You're an idiot. Yeah, suck on that, Larry. Nick, I'm sorry. It's the one who really ruined our friendship here. It was me. What a trial. And needless to say, this one was the most intense trial I've seen in quite a while. Yeah. Yes. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have a report to Mr. Butts? We're currently processing his arrest, Your Honor. May I request we end this trial as soon as possible? I still wish to talk to him before they haul him off for good. Ah, I understand. He was also a good friend of yours, after all. Before I hand down the verdict, however, there's still one thing I'd like to say. Mr. Gavin, your methods today were rather irregular from what I'm used to of you. In its own way, it was quite the amazing performance regardless. There, this is the outcome I was expecting from the judge. The reaction I was expecting from the judge. Reminded me a lot of a certain attorney from a time of old, a time I often think of fondly. And honestly, it made me become a fan of you all over again. My compliments. I'm very much looking forward to seeing more of it in your next defense. Ah, you're too kind, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm afraid this will be the last case I'll ever handle. Nothing I do now will change the future. I'll still lose my soul to the devil. It's just all for nothing. It's a shame it has to end like this. What's on, Kristoph? Want to say what's on your mind? It's nothing, right? Hope you don't feel sad for me or Larry at the very least. We did the right thing, you know? You're right. Thank you, Wright. I'd like to announce my verdict now, then. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Novelty et al. Yeah! Oh, is this about the all? Court is now adjourned. Nice done, honey. You really saved my stack. You're welcome, Mr. Tao. It was my pleasure. Well, you did worry me a few times back, though. I suppose it turned out you knew what you were doing. Glad I let you do my case. I'll be sure to recommend you to anyone I know in case they need a lawyer. Yeah, you were totally awesome, Mr. Gavin. Like the way you brought up that vending machine and how you managed to catch the culprit. I think this might be my new all-time favorite defense of yours, sir. I'm glad you think so, Justice. I'm flattered. By the way, where's Mr. Wright now, sir? He and Mr. Edgeworth are talking to Mr. Butts in the prosecutor's lobby. I'd imagine they want to say their goodbyes to their friend. Then shouldn't you be there with them? I think Mr. Wright would appreciate your support since you're his friend, too, and all. I don't think I should, honestly. I would just get in the way of their moment. I don't think I could show my face there, not for everything I did during this trial. I vehemently tried to pin this crime on Wright for a while, even though he was innocent. Even forged evidence to make him look potentially guilty. But Wright still thinks my motivations were well-intended. No matter how you slice it, I'm still responsible for ruining Wright's friendships with Mr. Butts. None of that would have happened if I didn't make that deal with the devil. I don't deserve to be Wright's friend at this point. Huh. Well, if you say so, Mr. Gavin. Well, if you're all free, how about I invite the two of you out for drinks at my favorite casino? Least I can do to pay you back for what you did for me. Oh, my apologies, Mr. Tao. I don't think I have time for that, sadly. Oh, that's right. You still have your dinner party with Mr. Wright tonight, don't you, Mr. Gavin? I suppose. I think you should take Mr. Tao's offer, Miss Justice. You deserve a little celebration. Oh? I didn't do anything, sir. Nonsense. Don't sell yourself short now. You supported me excellently. Not just today, but in many of my previous cases, too. Come now. No need to be shy if you want to go. Well, I guess it does sound like a fun. Too bad you can't make it, Gavin. We'll just have some fun without you then. Thanks again for your services, though. I guess I won't see you at the office today anymore then, so... See you tomorrow, Mr. Gavin. Have fun tonight at your dinner party with Mr. Wright. Thank you, Justice. You have fun as well. Time to see. Have we paid our dues to the devil? It would seem no one but me is at the office at the moment. That's good. Just wanted one fun moment to myself before my time runs out. I've gone home instead of my office, but there's simply not been enough Not be enough time to make the trip there. This is the end, then. It is a shame. Feels there were still so many things I could have done in life. It wasn't a bad last day of my life, at least. Don't know why, but now more than ever, I wish I could keep my soul and stay here. Not just because today made me learn and think differently about some things I never knew before. Before today, I never considered how Wright must have felt about me as a friend. Not just in the last 7 years, but in the future I experienced as well. Today he kept believing in me, thinking my motivations were always well intended. Even thought I genuinely feared he could have been the killer. Perhaps he was genuinely upset when he found out I killed Zach Grimier in the future as well. I just never saw that in him before. I suppose he isn't the soulless manipulator I once thought he was. He did never show it, too, in the canon game. If he was shocked and appalled. Now I'll never have the opportunity to make it up to him, however. Or even apply the things he taught me, for the matter. What's this? Am I truly getting teary-eyed now? I have nothing to regret here. I did the right thing here. This is how it should be. It's almost 4 p.m. now. I should just face this head-on. Stand proud. Well, hello there, Kristoph. Seems 24 hours have passed now. Bet you were hoping this was all just gonna be an awful dream, huh? Let's get this over with already. Oh, don't you worry. Just wanted to inform you of the results of our gamble as a formality, really. So without further ado, congratulations! Look around you, you fool! I'm still here. What is going on? I thought I'd be immediately transported back to hell. Well, I just checked if your actions today caused your future execution in prison to be averted. Somehow, in some way, don't ask me how, it would seem you actually completed that task. So there you go. I may be the devil, but I'm also a demon of my word. But I failed to get rid of Phoenix Wright. How could I then have been successful? Friendship! I told you, I have no clue. It would appear something you did today allowed you to keep your soul, I guess. Perhaps that Phoenix Wright is gonna off himself in the near future now. What an annoying turn of events that got you out of your predicament, though. Told you, it's friendship. But oh well, I suppose the fun of this little game wasn't really at the end result anyways. What do you mean? What, you didn't think I made you that offer? Sent you back in time to that very day was because I genuinely wanted you to do you a favor, didn't I? Did you? I'm the devil. I exist to make people suffer. Didn't you think it was a bit too much of a coincidence that things just weren't going your way these last 24 hours? I, of course, knew these events would lead to a most entertaining source of misery for you. Honestly, no full day's amount of torture I could give you in hell could compare to that. Of course, you'll still be going through such torture anyway once your life ends. That was part of our deal, remember? I'll eventually get your soul anyways. Without doing some good deeds in this timeline to redeem the stuff you did in the past or anything. And hey, even though you unexpectedly won, would you really even call this winning? Now you can continue living your paranoid life with the man you hate the most, Phoenix Wright. Except now with the knowledge that he wasn't all that bad. The problem was just with yourself. Have fun trying to live with yourself now without feeling like a scumbag, Kristoph. I'm over such petty behavior now. Oh, really now? I'm sure that you haven't forgotten the old shadows that will continue to hunt you still. You're still responsible for making Wright lose his badge. What if your dear friend were to find out? Zach Grimier is still out there too, you know? He knows too much, remember? Oh, and let's not forget about Drew Mission either. He's still gonna die on October 6th thanks to that poison stamp he sent him years ago. Sure, I guess you won't be found guilty of that crime anymore as far as I can tell. Doesn't mean you'll never be suspected for it. But he appears to think of you then, huh? Wonder how you're gonna deal with it all the while still getting the weakest sleep at night. Man, the solitary confinement you went through before doesn't sound so bad compared to all that. But hey, if you ever want a shortcut and skip the torture I have in store for you, in hell, you're free to take that option as well, if you know what I mean. Wow. You. Well, it's been fun, but I must be going now then. Enjoy your wretched life while it lasts, Kristoph. I'll be saving a briny pit for you in the dark depths below. Till we meet again. I'm going to live the rest of my life like the devil wants me to. Will not give him that satisfaction. Still, some of the things he said did make me anxious. Is Wright okay? Perhaps I ought to check up on him. Ah, Kristoph. I was hoping I'd find you here. Just like you to immediately go back to work after a case gets wrapped up. Right? Why'd you come here? I wanted to check up on you. You left the courthouse all of a sudden. And I was still worried on whether or not that bad situation you were talking about got resolved. Ah, it did get resolved. And thanks to you, actually. You were right. Solving the case by uncovering the truth did solve my predicament as well, somehow. So you really did save me by stepping in back there. That's a relief to hear. I'm glad you're okay now, then. Should you be at the Borscht Bowl Club during your work shift, however? Oh, I've decided to take another day off from work, actually. Finding out that Larry murdered someone made me a little bit too depressed to focus on work today. Right, I'm sorry for getting your friend arrested. No Zachramir? Don't be. You've done nothing wrong. At least you're not a killer like Larry was. Well, not yet in this timeline. In fact, if you hadn't uncovered the truth, I don't think I'd have realized some things now. Like what? They said his motivation for killing someone and lying about it was because Mr. Elflash wronged me. And while he was right about Mr. Elflash's deeds being immoral, it caused Larry to feel like he was justified to act immoral himself in response. I suppose I'm not much better in that regard. 11 years ago, when I was accused of forging evidence, it felt so unfair I had to lose my badge and everything I worked for. All for something I didn't do. I felt our law system was corrupt. Both from inside and outside the courtroom. I still do, but today I realized I shouldn't let my bitterness about that cause me to make questionable decisions. Might end up like Larry and lose things even more important to me. Now, Wright. You make it sound like you're a dishonest person. I know you're not. Thanks, Kristoph. I know I've messed up these last 7 years. After all, I've been entirely honest when playing my poker games at the Borscht Bowl Club. I do cheat occasionally to keep my 7-year-long winning streak going, as you know. Just yesterday, I took Trucy's savings to enter a shady poker tournament, all behind her back. I need to do better than that in the future. I see. Perhaps I should do better too. But, don't you fear you might lose your undefeated status if you played your games fairly? I know your financial status is more or less dependent on that. Don't worry, I'll manage. I won't need to set aside my money anymore for that Mason system project I wanted to work on. Oh, no, Jurist. Did you meet the goal for funding it? No, I canceled it. They also made me realize it probably wouldn't have worked. Ah, is that really what changed? I guess I might as well tell you now. It's going to be part of a system reform for the law called the Jurist system. I've been trying to push for it for a while now. I thought such a system would benefit the courts, but now I'm not so sure anymore. When cases get as complex as these, I'm not sure if common sense with common folk would always lead to the truth. After all, had this trial ended early at any point today, probably wouldn't even have been convinced the true guilty party was Larry myself. I suppose that would explain how I managed to complete the devil's task. Somehow I got extremely lucky. I'm glad the reason I kept my soul doesn't seem to be anything due to what the devil suggested. Anyway, now that I won't need funds to set up the Mason system anymore, I can just use my entry fee money for the tournament to live off of it for a while. Give Trucy your savings back, I should still have a bit of buffer after that. I see. That'll be alright there as well, then. In any case, I think I'll be going home now. We're not going to have our usual dinner party. Well, like I said, I took the day off from work at the Boar's Bull Club. It'd be weird if I showed up there with you for dinner now, don't you think? Ah, I suppose so. Somewhere else then. Thanks again for your help today, Wright. That's what friends are for, Kristoph. See ya. Friends. Right, wait. What is it? Are you gonna be honest? How about we go to this really relaxing fine dining place I know? My treat. Yeah! Oh, this is good. Written by the Fury Wraith. It's an hour-and-a-half ending, but I don't care. Worth it. Oh. I hope my first try is going to be as exciting as Mr. Gavin's latest one. Maybe the murder trick the killer uses could involve something cool, like a toaster or a Ferris wheel. But, and again, it sounds like it'd be a pain to figure out how such things could have been used. As long as Mr. Gavin will be my co-counsel, he could figure out all the difficult stuff for me. Now, don't have to just have him doing all your work for you. You can figure it out, Apollo. You're capable. There's something more of Apollo in this universe with Phoenix. I sure hope Mr. Edgeworth's friend turned out to be a killer didn't do a number on his ability to trust. It'd be bad if that caused the relationship between us and Mr. Edgeworth to suffer after all. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. For starters, I'll tell Mr. Edgeworth that I vow to never murder anyone like his friend just did. Don't do that, Gumshoe. Darling, please, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Hey, Beth. For some reason, I just don't feel the same thrill with gambling as I used to have with it anymore. Oh? As it just doesn't compare to the thrill I felt when my trial was going on. Alright, I'm decided. Time to make my career shift from poker player to lawyer, or... Should be easy enough to pass the bar exam. All you do is bluff your way through it, right? Feels that way. That's an interesting turn of events for her. What's Libby up to? Well, I ended up having to pay a fortune for bail on all the stuff I was charged with. But it's okay. I thought of a new get-rich-quick scheme. Play poker against the legendary scammer, Libby Toon. Who would want to pay money to play poker against a celebrity who scammed known poker pros, huh? Of course, my opponents are to follow a tight script on what moves they must make. Of course. I still can't believe Larry turned out to be a killer. I thought he had that in him. I do suppose Kristoph Gavin did the right thing by uncovering that truth. Was I wrong about him? I suppose only time will tell. I continue to observe his trials and actions. For Wright's sake. Nothing else, this trial also taught me I need to redouble my effort as a prosecutor. Well said. God, honestly, you had two distinct branches in here, and both of them, the miracle happened. I'm not sure what the conditions of the miracle happened jam were, but the miracle happened. Oh, is this the... Oh. Oh, you're gonna tease us by having Zach up here. The place is great, Kristoph. Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Wright. It's odd, but the first time while dining with Wright, I'm actually enjoying myself as well. I wasn't so bad with him as a friend, I suppose. Hey, Kristoph. You know, I've been always wanting to lock my lips on this. Grape juice? Where'd you get that? Right, that's a $1,000 bottle of grape juice. You did say it was your treat, right? With your income, it's not even that expensive. Even so, you can't just order that without considering. Don't worry, I'll also order one for you.
Objection!
Gah! Okay, that was cute. Congratulations on getting the redemption ending. But there is still another path you could have taken. No. You also have to left. Would you like to end the game? No. No. Yes. Thank you very much for playing. Hope you enjoyed the game. Have a nice day. You too. That was beautiful. Oh. Wow. That was something special. That was genuinely something special. It's... God, this is... Is this one of... Up there with the best, or quite possibly the best, Apollo Justice relevant, or Apollo Justice adjacent cases I've ever played? Yeah, it might be the best with the way how it handles the canon, even if it's a alternate universe, alternate timeline. Kristoph Gavin gets isekai into an alternate timeline after death to redo his shoddy past, rebuild his friendship, or give himself a clean go at life. Just what a fascinating timeline you put together here, where the two distinct outcomes give two wonderfully unique realms of canon, so to speak. If that phrasing even makes sense, which it doesn't really make sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. God, on like areas that very much putting Edgeworth in charge and having Larry involved is a very distinct bit of commentary on the fact that they never got brought up in the Apollo Justice. And really, were they involved in his life? Don't know. They may not have been. And this path, and this interpretation of things, they just weren't involved. They weren't there for him. That sort of thing leaves a man bitter. And it legitimately is legitimately like part of the story in the Apollo Justice canon, if I'm remembering correctly, is that Kristoph Gavin was the only one to go to bat for him. That includes, like, why would we not mention Miles Edgeworth in that case? A man who would very much go to bat for him, who would very much have an opinion on the matter in some shape or form. Larry's Larry. Who knows what Larry's up to? But yeah, that's a part of Nick's story that's worthy of commentary, and I'm glad it got touched on here. And played such a big role, ultimately. It's the reason why Larry did the thing. Also, for the tone of it, it's also a fascinating deep dive into Kristoph's character, which we never got. We never fucking saw him again in the Apollo Justice trilogy. Starring Phoenix Wright. Just still the silliest thing that they couldn't at least... What the fuck happened to Kristoph? When Like, why couldn't he have... Sure, he was thematically done after the Jura system, but... And they had bigger and more powerful villains to come back to, but... Yeah. It's, one of the best takes about, this is a random digression, but one of the best takes about Apollo's story through time and whatnot says that is essentially that Roger Rettins from Spirit of Justice Case 2, like, his presence in the universe as a failed Grimoire, someone with a grudge against the Grimoires, in the role that he is in that game, in that case, like, really makes a lot of the story of the Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice make a lot more sense with the presentation of the Dark Age of the law, the publicity side of that, because I think it's come up in other cases. In other cases, we've said that it always... Dark Age of the Law always felt like a media catchphrase of sorts, a publicity buzzword of sorts, and that's the argument for why Roger Mittens is such a broader scope character, is because of his influence over the media and the media aspect of both Wright's disbarment, the Jura system, the Grimoire revival, Dark Age of the Law, tied to all that, can all be... That makes him way more significant than just a one-off character for a one-off plot point in one game. That's a nice area that deserves more focus when lumping this together. I just wish we'd gotten more of the Gavins, who are an integral part to Apollo's story. Why didn't we get more? Why didn't we get more Clavier? Why couldn't we have gotten more Kristoph? It will always disappoint me, but this was an amazing take on Kristoph's character, and seeing just this, what I think is a really legitimately good insight into Kristoph's side of essentially life before the Apollo Justice games commenced. When in both rats we've seen pretty much a good depiction of why Kristoph felt this way towards Wright beforehand. The difference in their mindsets, their opinions of each other, their standings in life, they are an odd pair to be friends, you would think, but also I will always go to bat for the sad dramatic parallels of the revenge ending. Sad dramatic parallels of the revenge ending gotta be one of the greatest moments I've ever had the pleasure of witnessing in fan case playthrough history. One of the greatest moments. This redemption ending, don't get me wrong, was beautiful in its own right. Because, like, it's been building up to it for the entire game. It's been building up to it for the entire game, even if there's always the question of, does Wright have more ulterior motives in getting close to Kristoph? But just the way that Kristoph had to change his mindset to get through this case. You know it was going there. It got to the point with Larry's re-testimony that does he accept the call for redemption, or does he get to the door and turn away from it? Both choices produce exceptional endings that really worked. The other thing I haven't spoken about enough is that it took a while to get through some points, which he seemed to be drilling on for a while. It all came together. It all presents a really cohesive and well thought out case. So well fucking done. Holy shit. You can see why this got the praises and the recommendations that it did. That's amazing. Oh. And we both, I assume that this is the boon of the Miracle Happen jam. Is that in some way we get a good ending? Feel free to clarify about what the specifics of that jam actually were, but some way we get a good ending, therefore. But alas, that was a hell of a ride. Thank you for coming along with me for that. I suppose in the course of this playthrough being a thing, the third act of the Secret Turnabout released, so that is where we're going back to. So we're staying in the same era, I suppose. This is ostensibly, yeah, we're staying in the same era. We're returning to the Kristoph Gavin failed timeline to see why the justice system eventually failed. So going from an alternate take on a character who didn't get as much love and development in canon that he deserved in Kristoph Gavin, returning to the other case, which does for the canon what canon never did. That's bridge the gap between Apollo Justice and Dual Destinies. In that, why'd the juris system go kaput after only one known case? This also does present a good point in like the bit of ambiguity. I suppose there is a bit of ambiguity in things in the end, as far as will Kristoph actually change for the better? Remains to be seen. Seems like he genuinely has, but like there's still that room for what happens with the Drew Misham in the end. We're not told what happens, but the implications are there that he will still die. We will still be suspected of it to some degree. But because, one, we didn't go to the Borscht Ball Club and encounter Zach Vermeer, Zach probably left. Zach probably showed up looking for Nick, didn't find him, and then left, so Nick doesn't have that to go off of. He doesn't have the format of the Mason system to put together the case against Kristoph for Drew's death. It doesn't have Zach's death to put on Kristoph's record. It doesn't have that suspicion to put on Kristoph. It is very likely that if Drew Misham does die, that Kristoph will not get away with it. That is a good reason. Is a very good reason. I will admit that with Kristoph turning over a new leaf, I will admit that part of me hopes that he would try and get the stamp back from Drew in some way. So, I mean, hey, he's living a better life. He's a new him, but that is just for me to speculate about. You never know. That matters little now, but I have prowled on for far too long, and it's time for us to return to the secret. Until next time, until then.